Hi everyone, it's Darlene. Welcome to this week's card. I am using Stampin' Up's Secret Garden set again. It's my favorite set right now. And I think I've used pretty much every stamp in this set after this card when I use these 3 silhouette stamps. And I've got these pieces of crumb cake cardstock that have been pre-cut, and I'll have the measurements on my blog if you're interested. And I'm using Color Box ink, and I'm going to randomly stamp these 2 flowers and this leaf on these 3 pieces of cardstock. And I just have a little scratch sheet underneath there. On the second one here, I stamped it, and then, or before I stamped it, I flipped it over, and this ink is very, very wet, and it takes a while to dry. So when I flipped it over, the ink that had gotten on my scratch sheet from my first piece, anyway, got on it, but I ended up stamping over it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The technique I'm going to use is called ghosting, and it's a really easy thing to do, and it's a perfect thing for these flowers. You can use it with any type of silhouette, and the key is to use it on crumb cake or craft cardstock. Alright, so when I'm done with all these pieces, I'm just going to let it dry. I like to let mine dry naturally, but you could use a heat tool if you want to. Now I've got my Stamp-A-Majig, and I'm going to prep it so that I can line things up perfectly here. So I'm going to take my first piece, I'm going to line it up, and actually this is a little challenging because this flower has so many different petals on it. But anyway, I get it lined up, and then as you can see, I moved it just a little bit to the lower left. And that way I get a little off-center look. And what this is going to do is where the ink hits the crumb cake, notice, keep your Stamp-A-Majig in place because I needed to stamp this a couple of times to get good coverage. What this is going to do is it's going to allow some of the white to show through on the areas that's not stamped, and then on the area that is stamped that's not on the white, on the crumb cake, it's going to look darker. So you'll have a white, and then you'll have the raspberry on white, and then you'll have raspberry on crumb cake, which is going to appear darker. Anyway, so I'm just going to repeat this step with all the flowers. I'm using the same pink picked raspberry distress ink on both of the different flowers. Now for my leaf, I'm going to use Bundled Sage, another distress ink. I'm just preparing my Stamp-A-Majig here. And again, I'm going to use the same technique. I'm just going to line it up, and then I move it maybe just, I would say, a millimeter and a half to the lower left. I want a little bit more dimension in these flowers, and I'm sorry the video is blurry, so I'm going to kind of speed through the first part of it, and then I realized that my video was blurry, so I zoomed out a little bit. I think it was a little too close. But I've got this Inktense pencil, and it's fuchsia, so I'm matching it up with the color of the flower. Alright, now you can see. And I'm taking my pencil and I'm kind of flicking it outward to the edge of the petal. So I'm starting in the center and I'm just kind of feathering outward. And I'm making some of my pencil marks light and some dark. And you want to make sure you don't first do too many marks, and secondly, leave space in between them. It just makes it look a little bit more textured. So I'm going to do this all the way around, and I know this one has quite a few petals on it. Now I did a blue version of this and I posted a picture on my blog, and I used a brown pencil to do this, and I didn't think it went as well as using the same color of the ink. So I would stick with using the same color. Anyway, so here's the other flower, and with this one I'm going to make my pencil lines longer in the middle, and I'm going to shorten them out as I go to the edges of the flower. And this is a little bit easier because I can separate my marks a little bit more to make it look like it's the veins kind of the petal. So my lines are getting shorter as I go to the edge. I'm going to speed up this final flower so I can show you the leaves here. Again, another Inktense pencil. And I'm going to draw a single dark line in the middle, and then I'm going to feather outward from it. And that's how I did these leaves. And you just want to use the pencil that kind of matches your ink the best. So one line in the middle and then feather outward. Alright, so I did that on all my leaves, and now I've got these black pieces of cardstock that I cut to be 1/8 of an inch border on all sides. And again, if you want to go to my blog, I'll have all the measurements for you. So I'm just adhering those together, and I'm going to arrange them on my card. And I sort of eyeballed it, then I decided I wanted to be exact. So I figured it was about 1/2 inch from the top and 1/2 inch from the bottom. And then I decided to go ahead and make a little mark there so I can line it up just right. So then I'm going to adhere this now to this. This is a Neenah 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch piece of folded cardstock. And I use Neenah cardstock as my card base because it's good, solid, heavyweight cardstock. And then I decided I think I wanted it a little lower, so I just lower that top piece really quick. Alright, now I'm going to dot the middle of the flowers. With the black on the outside, I wanted to have some black on the inside of the panel to just kind of pull it together. And so that's why I added some black dots to the center of the flowers. And I'm just kind of randomly dotting them in there. And then I'm drawing some lines on the top and the bottom just with a ruler. And then I'm going to put my sentiment in there, which I think the stamp set is Mikasa. It's a Hero Arts, and I'm using VersaFine black ink. And I was going to stamp it, but then I decided I wanted it to be exact, so I went ahead and measured the center. And it was kind of hard to tell with that block, so it was easier to just draw a pencil mark. And that's it. So it's pretty simple, and it's a really fun technique, and it looks really cool. So those stamps actually came from Silhouette Stamps, which was kind of cool. Anyway, so hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.